Martha Stewart grew up in a Polish-American household where her father wanted the best for her. At the young age of 3, her family started teaching her how to garden, cook, and sew. She lived next to a couple retired bakers who taught her how to make pies and cakes. She was a very studious kid who received straight A's and received a partial scholarship to go to college. She took up modeling during college to help pay off her student loans and started intending to major in chemistry but later switched to an art major. She continued modeling after college until her daughter was born, when she chose a profession as a stockbroker. After a recession in 1973, she yet again changed her profession. This time she started catering out of her home. Within just a decade, her home catering business became a $1 million enterprise. With the success of her catering business came magazine and book publishing offers. Shortly after, she started publishing her own magazines and started her own cooking television show. She paid for all publishing, broadcasting, merchandise and licensing ventures bearing her name and started her own broadcasting and publishing company entitled, Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia. She was accused of insider trading and found not guilty, but later brought up on charges of misleading an investigator and was sentenced to 5 months in prison and $30,000 fine. When she was released, she immediately got back on her feet and continued publishing books and magazines and was even more successful than before. Within just 1 year of her release from prison, she was nominated for 6 Daytime Emmys. The values of leader that we determined are the following: charismatic, empowering, inspiring, good communicator, confident, decisive, observant, goal-oriented, trustworthy, accountable, and adaptable. Here's how Martha Stewart was inspirational. With an illustrious career as a cook and through her many cookbooks, she inspired many men and women to start cooking and baking. As a woman who was sentenced to prison time, she was able to still be successful upon her release. An inspiration to people who need a second chance. Here's evidence on how Martha Stewart was adaptive. Stewart was able to adapt to a multitude of different scenarios and occupations throughout her career and is continuing to adapt today. Martha Stewart has a widespread career including modeling, retail executive and businesswoman, writer, television personality, and an assortment of publishing, broadcasting, and merchandising ventures. When she became pregnant, she adapted and instead of modeling became a stockbroker. When there was a recession, she switched up to catering from her home. She is currently working on writing her 100th book, most of which have been home decor or cooking-related books and magazines. Martha Stewart was goal-oriented and confident. She always knew what she wanted and didn't hesitate to pursue those goals. With a lifelong background of cooking and baking, she was confident in her ability. She had so much faith in her cooking that she believed she could make a living catering out of her home. She was very decisive and started catering right away, and her at-home business became very successful. Martha Stewart is a great communicator. She can teach cooking in a manner that expert chefs and college students can both understand. She also has a charisma around her. She encourages beginning cooks to keep going and challenges proficient cooks to get better. She doesn't look down on others but builds them up. Martha Stewart is a strong supporter of being a lifelong learner, which helps her with being adaptive and helps keep her observant. She is also a big advocate of seeking inspiration everywhere. This is visible throughout her entire career, finding inspiration from her husband, father, and neighbors. I believe Martha Stewart is the best leader based on our values because she faced many obstacles throughout her life that she met head-on and didn't back down. She grew up in an average American household and used the difficulties in her life to learn and grow as a person, an entrepreneur, and ultimately a leader. Martha Stewart grew up in a Polish-American